My boyfriend was a soccer fan, so I went with him to watch the World Cup. While we were lining up in 98-degree heat to enter the stadium, I went to buy him an iced Coke from a stand nearby. But when I came back, my boyfriend was gone, and my digital ticket showed it had already been scanned. You went in? Why does my ticket show it's been used? I called him anxiously. Oh, I ran into Maya, the intern from my department. She didn't get a ticket and was crying outside, so I gave her yours. Are you insane? That was the VIP front row ticket I got. Oh, come on. You're not even into soccer. You just sit there playing on your phone. Maya is a real fan. Ever heard of doing a good deed? I was so shocked I couldn't speak. So you left me outside alone for an intern? You can watch the live stream anyway. Can't you just find a patch of grass and sit there until the match is over? Don't be so selfish. Listening to the dial tone on the phone, I immediately called my soccer star brother. Hello? Liam, my ticket was... Lily, I'm about to go on for the match. The signal backstage is terrible. After the game, I'll take you to the celebration party. From the other end of the line came the coach's voice urging them to get on the field. Before I could finish speaking, the call was hurriedly ended. I stood there frozen, holding my phone. In my hand, I was still carrying the 2 bottles of iced Coke I had just bought. Water droplets slid down the bottles and dripped onto my shoes. Above me was 98-degree heat, and the brutal sun was baking the asphalt until it almost seemed ready to melt. Ma'am, if you don't have a ticket, don't block the ticket checking lane. Go wait in the plaza over there. A security guard came over and waved me away impatiently. I could only carry the Cokes and retreat to the edge of the plaza where there was no shade at all. Sweat ran down my forehead and into my eyes, and the sting made me squint. I took out my phone, wanting to ask Zach how long exactly he expected me to wait. The moment I opened Ins, the first post was one Zach had just uploaded. The photo was of the soccer field from a VIP front row angle. On the right side of the image, there was clearly a girl's slender wrist. On that wrist was the Cartier bracelet I had spent $20,000 on for Zach last month. The caption read, "Watching the match with someone who truly gets it. This is what the World Cup is all about." I was shaking with anger, and I called Zach directly. It rang for a long time before he finally picked up. "What now? Are you ever going to stop?" Zach's voice was full of extreme impatience. Deafening cheers came from the background. It seemed someone had scored a goal. "What's with the ins post? You gave my ticket to someone else and now you let her wear my bracelet?" I questioned him through clenched teeth. Zach scoffed on the other end. "Lily, why are you so materialistic? Maya didn't wear any accessories today. I thought the bracelet matched her outfit, so what's wrong with letting her borrow it? You can't even tell Cristiano from Neymar, and you think you understand soccer?" I took a deep breath and tried to keep my voice from trembling. "I don't understand soccer, but I understand basic manners. That was my ticket. What gave you the right to make that decision without my permission? Do you know how hot it is outside? You're making me stand out here for hours?" Zach's tone became even more self-righteous. "I already told you, Maya is an intern, and her monthly salary is only $3,000. She can't even afford official merch. You carry bags worth tens of thousands. So what's wrong with letting her have the ticket? You always act so superior at the office, and now you're nitpicking over one ticket. Are you jealous that Maya understands soccer better than you?" I could hardly believe what I was hearing. He was being generous with someone else's things, and still made it sound so noble. Just then, a sweet, delicate female voice came from the other end of the phone. "Zach, is Lily mad? Why don't I go outside instead? I really want to watch Liam play, but I don't want to affect your relationship." Maya's voice sounded incredibly wronged. Zach immediately lowered his voice to comfort her. "Don't mind her, she's just being dramatic. Stay right here, no one is kicking you out today." Then he turned back to the phone, and his voice suddenly rose. "Lily, I'm warning you. Don't embarrass me out there by acting crazy. It wasn't easy for Maya to come here. If you dare come in and cause a scene today, we're done." I tightened my grip on the Coke bottle in my hand, and my knuckles turned white from the force. "Fine, I won't go in. Zach, take your things and get out here right now." Zach let out a cold laugh. "Come out? This is Liam's home game and you want me to come out? Is something wrong with your brain? Even if you got on your knees and begged me right now, I wouldn't go out." I felt as if a huge stone were blocking my chest, making even breathing difficult. "Zach, if you don't come out, then don't contact me again after this." The other end of the line went silent for 2 seconds. Then came Zach's mocking laughter. "Fine, Lily. Don't threaten me with a breakup. If you dare leave today, don't come begging me to get back together later. Maya, let's go closer to the front. Ignore this crazy woman." Before I could speak, the dial tone sounded again. I stood under the blazing sun, looking at the bustling crowd around me, and suddenly felt it was all absurd. After 3 years together, I had thought he was just a little short-tempered. I never imagined that in front of someone else, he could belittle me until I was worth nothing. The security guard came over again and tapped the railing beside me with his baton. "Hey, I'm talking to you. Don't stand here and get in the way." I took 2 steps back, and my vision suddenly went black. As the world spun around me, I heard people nearby cry out in alarm. When I opened my eyes again, I smelled the strong scent of disinfectant. A nurse was taking my blood pressure. "You're awake? You had mild heat stroke. A kind passerby brought you to the medical tent." The nurse put away the blood pressure monitor. I propped myself up on the canvas cot and felt my stomach churn violently. "Thank you. How long have I been lying here?" I asked weakly. The nurse checked her watch. "Almost an hour. Hurry and contact a friend or family member to pick you up. It's too hot outside." I patted my pocket and found my phone. There were no missed calls on the screen. There was only one message from Zach sitting in my texts sent 10 minutes ago. "Go buy Maya an official canvas tote. She didn't get one, and you're just hanging around outside anyway." Looking at that line of text, I was so angry I laughed out loud. I had passed out from heat stroke outside the stadium, and not only did he not care where I had gone, but he was ordering me to buy merch for his sweet little friend. I directly called Zach on FaceTime. It rang until the last few seconds before he finally picked up slowly. "Did you get the bag? Don't buy the wrong color. Maya likes the black one." I spoke coldly. "Zach, I have heat stroke. I'm in the medical tent right now." The other end paused for a moment, then Zach's impatient voice came through. Lily, why are you pretending to be fragile? Are you deliberately trying to get attention because you saw Maya having fun inside? I closed my eyes and forced down the urge to smash my phone. I'm not pretending. I'm dizzy and nauseous, and I can't even stand steadily. Zach clicked his tongue on the other end. Enough. Stop putting on this pathetic act. Maya's ankle got stepped on and it's swollen. I need to go find an ice pack for her now. Since you're in the medical tent, grab an ice pack and bring it to the ticket gate. I seriously suspected there was something wrong with my ears. You want someone who passed out from heat stroke to bring an ice pack to you and your mistress? Zach instantly exploded. Watch your mouth. What mistress? Maya is an innocent girl. We're just pure friends. Why is your mind so filthy? If your own heart is dirty, everything you see looks dirty. Maya's tearful voice came from beside him at exactly the right time. Zach, don't scold Lily. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have twisted my ankle. I'll walk out right now even if it hurts, and I won't cause Lily any trouble. Zach comforted her with obvious heartache. Why would you walk? Your foot is swollen like that. The one who should leave is a cold-blooded animal like her with no sympathy. I didn't want to listen to this disgusting pair act anymore, so I hung up directly. Outside the medical tent, the sky was gradually getting dark. From the distant stage came deafening cheers, probably because star forward Liam had scored again. The crowd began surging like a tide toward the various exits. Dragging my weak body, I walked step by step to the exit of the VIP only passage. Not long after I stood there, I saw Zach come out carrying Maya on his back. Maya was still holding an official black canvas tote, which Zach had obviously bought for her just now. She lay on Zach's back and smiled happily. The two of them were pressed very close together. Zach, this bag is so pretty. Thank you for buying it for me, Maya said in a sweet voice. Why are you being polite with me? Zach's tone was indulgent. I took a deep breath, walked forward, and blocked their path. When Zach saw me, the smile on his face vanished at once, and his brows knitted tightly. Maya's foot hurts so badly she can't walk right now. I need to call a cab and take her back downtown. I don't have time to argue with you here. I gave a cold laugh. You're taking her home? What about me? My car keys are still in your bag. Do you expect me to fly back? I had driven him here today, and the car keys had been in his backpack the whole time. Zach froze for a moment, as if only then remembering that. He irritably felt around his pocket, pulled out the car keys, and threw them straight at me. Just drive yourself back. What's the big deal? After the heat stroke, my hands and feet were weak, so I didn't catch them at all. The car keys drew an arc through the air and fell into the deep grass beside us. I have heat stroke. I can't drive. I looked at him, my voice calm. Zach scoffed, his face full of disbelief. Keep acting. You sounded pretty strong when you were asking for money just now. Maya, let's go. Ignore this crazy woman. He reached out and stopped an unlicensed black car parked by the road, then carefully helped Maya into the back seat. Maya leaned her head out of the car window and winked at me. Lily, if you really can't drive, I can lend you my bus card. The black car sped away, spraying exhaust all over me. The sky had completely turned dark. Just then, those drunk men staggered toward me. Two shirtless men reeking of alcohol looked me up and down without restraint. Chic? All alone? No ride home? I'll give you one. My heart tightened, and I immediately took 2 steps back. No thanks. My friend is coming soon, I said, forcing myself to stay calm. The man with tattooed sleeves reached out and grabbed my arm. Why are you pretending to be innocent, bitch? Anyone wandering around this late is out looking for fun. Come on, have a couple drinks with us. I yanked my arm free and turned to run toward a place with streetlights. As I ran, I called Zach with trembling hands. Sorry, the number you have dialed is powered off. The merciless automated female voice completely shattered my last illusion. I hid in the gap between 2 buses, trembling all over. The footsteps of those men got closer and closer. Where did she run off to? That bitch is pretty fast. I was at the peak of despair and clamped a hand over my mouth, not daring to make a single sound. At the critical moment, a black Alphard van slowly drove over. The glaring headlights cut through the darkness and shone directly on the faces of those thugs. The car stopped steadily beside the bus. The door slid open with a loud whoosh. A tall man wearing a baseball cap and a black mask stepped out of the car. Without saying a word, he grabbed the tattooed man by the collar and flung him away like he was tossing a chick. Get lost. The thugs were about to lash out, but when they saw several burly bodyguards in black getting out of the back of the van, they sobered up halfway from fear and scrambled away. The man turned around and took off his mask. Under the car lights, I saw the face that had just been cheered by tens of thousands in the soccer stadium. It was my biological brother, Liam. Lily, how did you end up like this? When Liam saw my pale face and scraped knee, raging fury ignited in his eyes. I threw myself into my brother's arms, and the tears I had held back all day finally burst free as I told him everything that had happened today. After we got in the car, a bodyguard handed me a warm towel and warm water. Liam's phone suddenly vibrated. He opened it, glanced at it, and let out a cold laugh. This idiot actually dares to DM me. Liam directly tossed the phone into my lap. On the screen was a private message Zach had sent to Liam's official social media account. Liam, I've been your fan for 10 years. Congratulations to your team on winning the championship. Today I brought the girl I love most to watch your match from the VIP front row. She even twisted her ankle for you. I hope we can get your blessing. Liam's gaze turned sharp, and his fists clenched until his knuckles cracked. He left you alone in a dark, deserted place just to bring another woman to watch my game? I dried my tears, looked at that private message, and felt the grief in my heart gradually replaced by anger. Liam, your team's celebration party next week is at the Hyatt
Liam
Club,
looked
right?
at me for a long moment. Then the corners of his mouth slowly lifted. That's my sister. He pulled out his phone and dialed his assistant. Add one more guest to the championship celebration. The assistant sounded confused. But Mr. Carter, invitations were finalized yesterday. I'm changing them. Liam's eyes stayed on me. One invitation for Zach. VIP treatment. Make sure he thinks he's receiving a special reward. Understood. And one more thing. His voice turned icy. Don't tell him Lily is my sister. For the next 7 days, Zach never contacted me once. Not to ask whether I had recovered. Not to apologize. Not even to ask whether I had gotten home safely. Instead, I watched his social media. Every single day, there were new pictures with Maya.
Coffee, dinner,
Shopping. Caption after caption about finding someone who shares the same passion. The comments were full of people teasing them. You two are basically dating.
just marry already.
That girl beside you is way prettier than your girlfriend. Zach liked every single comment, including that last one. I simply smiled. Then I transferred the title of the apartment, my apartment, that Zach had been living in back into my own name only. I canceled the supplementary credit card he'd been using.
Canceled his phone plan.
Canceled the gym membership I'd been paying for. Canceled his streaming subscriptions. Canceled everything. The customer service representative even laughed. Are you sure you want to terminate all Link services? Every single one. Even the luxury parking pass? Especially that one. The next morning my phone exploded. Lily, Zach sounded furious. My card got declined buying coffee. I know. You canceled it? I know. My phone service stopped working. I know. My apartment key doesn't work anymore. I corrected him. My apartment. Silence. Then his voice became much softer. Lily, are you really still angry about the soccer game? I almost laughed. Still? As if one soccer game was the problem.
No.
I've just realized something. What? I've been sponsoring a stranger.
Click.
I hung up. That afternoon, Maya uploaded another post. She was wearing the Cartier bracelet. The caption read, "A gentleman always knows who deserves beautiful things." Red heart. 5 minutes later, my lawyer sent her a legal notice demanding the immediate return of property worth $20,000. Attached. Purchase receipt. Serial number. Insurance documents. Photos of me wearing it. Maya deleted the post within 3 minutes. 3 days later, an elegant black envelope arrived at Zach's office. Gold lettering shimmered across the front. Exclusive invitation. Championship Celebration Gala. Hosted by team captain Liam Carter. Only a handful of VIP fans had been invited. The entire office exploded. Oh my God. Zach, you got invited. I heard billionaires will be there. You can even meet Liam in person. Maya clutched Zach's arm excitedly. Can you take me? Zach puffed out his chest proudly. Of course. He smiled smugly. I knew Liam noticed me during the match. Someone asked curiously, what about Lily? Zach rolled his eyes. We broke up. She never appreciated soccer anyway. Someone like her would never belong at an event like this. The office immediately showered him with compliments. No one noticed. The HR manager quietly looked at him with pity, because she had already received instructions from headquarters. After the celebration, Zach's employment would be reviewed.
Personally.
By the company's largest shareholder. The night of the gala arrived. Luxury cars lined up outside the Hyatt. Crystal chandeliers illuminated the grand ballroom. Every famous athlete, celebrity, and business leader was present. Zach adjusted his expensive suit in front of the mirror. It was the same suit I had bought him for his birthday. Beside him, Maya wore a glamorous evening gown and my Cartier bracelet around her wrist. She whispered excitedly, I can't believe we're really here. Zach smirked. I told you. Liam appreciates genuine fans. Maybe tonight I'll even get a photo with him. The host stepped onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our championship hero, Liam Carter. Thunderous applause erupted. Liam walked onto the stage carrying the championship trophy. Then, instead of beginning his speech, he smiled. I'd like everyone to meet the person who sacrificed the most for me throughout my career. The ballroom became silent. Everyone wondered who he meant. Parents? Coach? His girlfriend? Then, the spotlight slowly moved. It landed directly on me. I stood from the front row table in a silver evening gown. Gasps echoed across the ballroom. Zach's confident smile froze. The champagne glass slipped from Maya's fingers and shattered across the marble floor. Liam walked down from the stage. In front of hundreds of cameras, he hugged me tightly. Then he smiled proudly at the audience. My little sister. I've spent my whole life protecting her. His smile disappeared. And anyone who thinks they can humiliate her, his cold gaze locked directly onto Zach, is about to have the longest night of their life. The ballroom fell into stunned silence. Zach's face drained of every drop of color. His lips trembled. Lily, you're Liam's sister? The silence in the ballroom stretched for what felt like an eternity. Every pair of eyes turned toward Zach. The smug smile that had been on his face moments ago was gone. His complexion turned ghostly white. Lily, his voice cracked. Why didn't you tell me? I looked at him calmly. You never ask. A ripple of laughter spread through the guests. Someone whispered loudly enough for everyone nearby to hear. So, he treated the captain's sister like garbage? Another added. He threw away a VIP ticket that was probably given to her by Liam himself. Maya's face was just as pale. She instinctively tried to hide behind Zach, but the Cartier bracelet glittering on her wrist caught the ballroom lights. Liam noticed it immediately. His eyes narrowed. Lily. He spoke without taking his eyes off Maya. Isn't that your bracelet? I smiled faintly. It is. I lent it to exactly no one. Every head turned toward Maya. She hurriedly covered the bracelet with her other hand. It was just borrowed. Zach finally found his voice. Liam, this is all a misunderstanding. Lily never said she minded. I laughed. My lawyer's demand letter was delivered 3 days ago. Keeping someone else's jewelry after receiving legal notice isn't borrowing. It's called possession of stolen property. Maya's knees visibly weakened. What? You sent a lawyer? You thought I was bluffing? Before she could answer, 2 elegantly dressed security officers approached. Ms. Maya? She looked up fearfully. We've been instructed to recover the jewelry on behalf of its legal owner. In addition, the event organizer requests that you remove it immediately. Her trembling fingers struggled with the clasp. The bracelet refused to come off. The room watched in awkward silence as she nearly burst into tears trying to remove the expensive piece she'd been proudly showing off online just days earlier. Finally, click. The bracelet came free. One of the officers carefully placed it into a velvet pouch before handing it to me. I didn't even look at it. I simply passed it to my assistant. Please have it professionally sanitized. Several guests failed to hide their laughter. Maya's face turned crimson. Just then, the master of ceremonies returned to the microphone. Before dinner begins, we'd like to recognize several outstanding supporters of the team. The giant screen behind the stage lit up. First came photos of charities, youth soccer programs, hospital donations, scholarships. Then, the screen suddenly changed. A familiar Instagram post filled the display. Watching the match with someone who truly gets it. This is what the World Cup is all about. The ballroom went silent. Then another image appeared. The cropped version disappeared. The original, unedited photo appeared instead. It showed Zach leaning affectionately toward Maya. The timestamp, the location, the VIP seat number, everything. Then another image. A screenshot of Zach's text message. Go buy Maya an official canvas tote. You're just hanging around outside anyway. Another. Bring an ice pack. Maya twisted her ankle. Another. A hospital record showing that I had been treated for heat stroke at exactly the same time. Whispers erupted throughout the ballroom. My God. He left his girlfriend outside in nearly 100-degree heat. And used her ticket? Then mocked her for collapsing? What kind of man does that? Zach looked around wildly.
Liam.
I can explain. You don't understand. Liam folded his arms. Good. Because I don't want to. He looked toward the ballroom. I'll let everyone judge for themselves. An older gentleman slowly stood from the head table. He was the chairman of the company where Zach worked. He adjusted his glasses before speaking. So, you're the employee who embarrassed our company across the entire internet. Zach froze. See, Chairman? The chairman nodded once. I've already reviewed the HR investigation. You misused company resources to pursue an intern. You publicly misrepresented your relationship. You displayed conduct entirely inconsistent with our code of ethics. He smiled politely. You're fired. The words landed like a hammer. And Ms. Maya, he turned toward her. As for you, our internship program values integrity. Your internship is terminated effective immediately. Maya burst into tears. Please. I worked so hard. I didn't do anything. The chairman raised an eyebrow. You accepted luxury gifts from another employee's partner. You knowingly wore property that wasn't yours. You encouraged behavior that damaged another employee. You call that nothing? She couldn't answer. Zach suddenly rushed toward me. Lily, I'm sorry. I was stupid. I was manipulated. It was Maya. I'll cut her off. We've been together for 3 years.
You.
Can't throw that away. Before he could come any closer, a bodyguard stepped between us. Liam's expression was colder than ice. My sister almost died from heat stroke. You abandoned her. You blocked her number. You left her alone to be followed by drunk men. His voice echoed through the ballroom. And now, you think I'm sorry fixes that? Zach collapsed onto his knees. Lily, please. I love you. For the first time that night, I looked him directly in the eyes.
No.
You loved what I could buy for you. The apartment, the car, the credit cards, the vacations, the VIP tickets. I paused. But the moment you thought someone else could make you look more impressive, you traded me away just as easily as you traded my seat. I slipped the Cartier bracelet back onto my wrist. This bracelet was worth $20,000. But today's lesson? I smiled. Priceless. I turned around and linked my arm with Liam's. Behind us, security escorted Zach and Maya out of the Hyatt ballroom as every guest watched in complete silence. The heavy doors closed behind them with a satisfying thud. Neither of them would ever again mistake someone else's kindness for weakness. Outside the Hyatt, the cameras were relentless. Sports reporters had originally gathered to interview the championship team. Instead, they witnessed 2 people being escorted out by security. Sir, why were you removed? Is it true you were involved in a dispute with Captain Liam Carter's sister? Miss, did you really wear someone else's Cartier bracelet?
Flash. Flash. Flash.
Maya buried her face in her hands. Zach shoved through the reporters. No comment. Someone in the crowd shouted. Weren't you the guy bragging online about bringing the girl you loved most to the World Cup? Another person yelled. So, which one? Laughter erupted. Inside the ballroom, however, the atmosphere had completely changed. Liam raised his champagne glass. Everyone, let's not let 2 clowns ruin a championship celebration. The room burst into applause. Music started again. Dinner was served. Halfway through the evening, Liam leaned over and whispered, Think they're suffering enough? I took a sip of sparkling water. Not yet. He grinned. I was hoping you'd say that. The next morning, Zach woke up on Maya's tiny apartment couch. His phone had over 200 missed calls. Most weren't from friends. They were from creditors. His supplementary credit card had been canceled. His luxury gym wanted its access card back. His phone company demanded payment. His parking permit had expired. Even the apartment key no longer worked. He rushed back to my condo carrying flowers, only to find the locks had already been changed. The concierge recognized him immediately. I'm here to see Lily. The concierge smiled politely. Miss Carter has instructed us not to allow you upstairs. Please leave. I lived here. You stayed here. The concierge corrected him. You never owned anything. The words hit harder than a slap. Meanwhile, Maya refreshed her social media every few minutes. Her follower count kept dropping. Thousands of comments flooded every post. Return the bracelet. Professional homewrecker. Hope the internship was worth it. Her influencer dreams disappeared overnight. Every brand she'd been talking to quietly canceled their collaborations. 3 days later, Zach finally managed to borrow money from an old college friend. He rented a cheap motel room. As he unpacked, he realized something horrifying. He owned almost nothing. The television. Mine. The designer suits.
Mine. The watch. Mine.
The laptop he'd used for work.
Mine.
Even the coffee machine he'd bragged about to coworkers had been a birthday gift for me. His entire successful lifestyle had been built with my money. Now it fit into one duffel bag. He sank onto the motel bed. This can't be happening. Back at Liam's mansion, I was helping him make breakfast. He looked at me over a frying pan. So, what are you going to do now? I smiled. I'm thinking of taking a vacation. You deserve one. I know. Before I could continue, Liam's assistant rushed into the kitchen holding a tablet. Captain, you need to see this. Liam frowned. What now? The assistant turned the screen toward us. Someone had uploaded security footage from outside the stadium. The video clearly showed me standing alone in the scorching heat with 2 bottles of Coke, then collapsing, then being wheeled into the medical tent. The timestamp matched exactly when Zach had been posting selfies with Maya from my VIP seat. The clip spread across the internet like wildfire. Within hours, it had millions of views. The comments were merciless. He let his girlfriend collapse from heatstroke while entertaining another woman. This is one of the worst boyfriend stories I've ever seen. Someone check if this guy has any shame left. Even worse for Zach. His own coworkers started commenting. One wrote, "She paid for your apartment, your clothes, your tickets, and this is how you repaid her?" Another replied, "Bro fumbled the lottery." That afternoon, Zach appeared once again outside Liam's estate. This time, he wasn't carrying flowers. He was carrying a cardboard box. Inside were every gift I'd ever given him.
The watch.
The suits. The sneakers. Even the handmade scrapbook I'd spent months making for our 2nd anniversary. When the gate opened, he immediately dropped to his knees. "Lily, I brought everything back. I don't want any of it. I just want you." I walked to the gate, but stayed several feet away. "You forgot something." His eyes lit up. "I knew you'd forgive me. The Coke."
He blinked.
"What?" "The 2 bottles of iced Coke I bought for you before the match. They melted while I waited outside. You never even got to drink them." His smile slowly disappeared. I looked at him with quiet disappointment. That was the moment our relationship ended. It wasn't when you gave away my ticket. It wasn't when you gave away my bracelet. It wasn't even when you left me alone. It was when I realized you never once wondered where I'd gone. You never looked for me. You never cared whether I got home. A long silence followed. Then I placed a small envelope on the security desk. "These are the receipts for everything I paid for over the last 3 years. His hands trembled as he opened it. The total was highlighted in bold. $487,362.18. Zach's eyes nearly popped out of his head. You kept track of everything?" I gave a small nod. "I work in finance. I keep track of everything." He looked as though the ground had vanished beneath his feet. I could never repay this. "I know." I turned and walked back toward the house. Without looking back, I said one final sentence. "So consider it the price of losing the best thing that ever happened to you." The estate gates slowly closed. This time, they didn't just shut a door. They closed the chapter of Zach's life that he would spend the rest of it wishing he could reopen. Epilogue. 2 years later. The World Cup scandal had long faded from the headlines. But for 3 people, its consequences never did.
Zach.
2 years later, Zach stood behind the register of a tiny convenience store on the outskirts of town. "Your total is $8.43. He repeated the sentence hundreds of times a day. His expensive suits had been replaced by a faded store uniform. The Rolex was gone. The sports car was gone. The luxury apartment was gone. Even his confidence was gone. No company in his industry would hire him. Every interview ended the same way. "We'll call you." They never did. The moment recruiters searched his name, the first thing they saw was the viral story. Employee abandons girlfriend in extreme heat to impress in turn. One rainy evening, the automatic doors slid open. A familiar figure walked in. It was one of his former coworkers. The man stared for several seconds before recognition dawned. "Zach." The entire store became awkwardly quiet. "I thought you worked in corporate." Zach forced a smile. Changed careers. The coworker glanced at the name tag on his chest, then at the lottery tickets behind him, then simply nodded. I see. As he walked away, Zach heard him whisper to another customer, "That's the idiot who dumped Liam Carter's sister." Even after 2 years, that was all anyone remembered.
Maya.
Maya's dreams of becoming an influencer died the night of the gala. No luxury brand wanted to work with someone whose name was synonymous with manipulation. Her internship was gone. The job offers disappeared. Friends stopped inviting her places. Even people who barely knew her kept their wallets close whenever she entered a room. Eventually, she found work answering customer service emails. Ironically, every day she typed, "We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience caused," words she'd never sincerely said to me. One afternoon, she accidentally came across my interview on television. The reporter asked, "Miss Carter, after everything that happened, do you hate them?" I smiled. Hate takes energy. I'd rather spend mine being happy. Maya quietly turned off the television. For the first time in years, she cried without anyone there to comfort her. Liam led the national team to another championship. He became one of the highest paid athletes in the world. Whenever reporters asked about family, he'd smile proudly. "My little sister is tougher than I am." The story of how he'd rescued me outside the stadium became famous among fans. Not because he was a soccer star, but because, despite all his fame, he never stopped being an older brother first.
Me.
As for me, I finally stopped shrinking myself to make someone else feel bigger. I left the company where Zach and Maya had worked. 6 months later, I launched my own sports marketing agency. Ironically, one of my first major clients was Liam. The business flourished. I bought a beach house, traveled whenever I wanted, made friends who valued me for who I was, not for what I could buy. A year later, at another championship celebration, someone tapped my shoulder. I turned around. A tall man held out an ice-cold Coke. "I heard you never got to drink this." I laughed. I finally found someone who remembers. He smiled. And someone who would never leave you outside. That relationship began with a single shared drink. No grand speeches. No manipulation. Just kindness. One last meeting. 3 months later, fate had one final joke. I stopped at the same convenience store on the way to the airport. The cashier looked up. It was Zach. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then, he quietly scanned the bottle of Coke I was buying. $2.19. His hands shook slightly as he handed it over. "I heard you're doing well." I'm glad." He hesitated before asking, "Do you ever think about us?" I smiled politely.
No.
It wasn't said with anger or revenge. It was simply the truth. I picked up the bottle. "Take care, Zach." As I walked toward the door, he suddenly called after me. "Lily." I paused. "I'm sorry, I didn't turn around." "I know." Then I left. The bell above the convenience store door rang once. When it stopped, so did the last connection between us. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't making someone suffer. It's becoming so happy that they no longer occupy a single corner of your heart. And somewhere, every time Zach saw an ice-cold bottle of Coke on a hot summer day, he remembered the woman who had once stood in the scorching sun, holding 2 drinks for him, while he gave everything she had to someone else. That memory became the one thing he could never throw away.